Good morning, everyone. Today we will present the module 3 for the course on harnessing the geospatial knowledge system to enable implementation of AFCFTA for building forward better. The module 3 is about the implementation of the integrated geospatial information framework. In the module 2, we have presented the overarching strategic framework of the IGF with its 3 major components. And today we will concentrate on the part 2 is the implementation guides. We recall these slides coming from the strategic framework and providing the 9 strategic pathway that we will discuss in details during this course. It has been already signaled that these 9 pathways are referring to the governance parts, the technology parts, and the people. And this consists of the governance and institution, the legal and policy, the financial, data, innovation, standards, partnership, capacity and education, and communication and engagement. We start with the strategic pathway 1, governance and institution. It is very important because this concerns the institutions dealing with the gathering of geospatial data and how this institution can work together to benefit from cooperation, from sharing knowledge, and from sharing costs on dealing with geospatial data. The strategic pathway deal with the governance model. That means that we put in place a mechanism to have this institution gathering, communicating, and cooperating. For this to succeed, we need a leadership for this mechanism. And we will come back because this leadership can change depending on the situation of each country. The institutional structure the data is collected in every institution, in every department, ministerial department, and we need somebody to represent each department in this process. And what are the value proposition, openness, transparency, etc. The strategic pathway 2 is dealing with legal and policy. Which legislation is in place or to be put in place, the norm and policies and guides existing or to develop during the process, the mechanism for implementation and accountability, and the data protection, data licensing, all issue of security pertaining to the data and the information systems in general. The strategic 2E3 is about finance, collecting data, processing, diffusing it, is costing. What is the business model to respond to these financial needs? What kinds of partnership and opportunities we need to share costs to have, for example, for the investment, public-private partnership, and what kind of benefit realization can be attained in implementing this system. The core of this work is about data, it's about geospatial data and the related other thematic data, the fundamental data teams. We have fundamental data teams proposed at UN level within UNGGM. Before in Africa, in SCA, for example, we have a document on fundamental data teams. What are the responsibility for acquisition, management, storing of the data? What data supply chain and interlinkages can be designed to optimize the process? And in the process of collection or in diffusion, responding to the need of the customer. The data curation and delivery, taking into account the important elements of quality of the data. This is very important consideration. It has been said that in this ecosystem, the innovation is very important. The industry is offering a new technologies, new process has to be put in place to take into account this technological advance, how to promote innovation and creativity, and how to bridge the digital divide. In the module 1, we have referred to the infrastructure, digital infrastructure, and the digital divide existing at the national level between the North and the South, between countries, and within the country, in the rural and urban area, for example. And we have seen that with the pandemic, COVID pandemic, when we are obliged to use digital services, education, for example, in e-commerce, and the importance of the infrastructure and this digital divide has been shown the inequality between, as I have said, rural and urban area, the gender inequality, etc. The standards are very important elements of the process. We have international organization dealing with standards. We have regional ones. We have national institutions. And the important here is to consider the standards dealing with geoinformation, legal interoperability, data interoperability, semantic operability, technical operability. There will be a study case on these standards in 2 weeks, in the end of, I think it's 24th to 27th of August, there will be the 11th UNGGM, and one important thematic that will be considered during this gathering is standards, and we have a draft guide on standards. We'll provide the reference to this document. The 7th pathway is about partnership. The work is interdisciplinary, cross-sector. We need to cooperate. We need a cooperation between these disciplines, between these sectors. We need also partnership in the industry and to encourage joint ventures. We need community participation. Civil society is important. As is a component working with the public and the private sector. It represents the users. Their view has to be taken into account when designing and implementing these systems. The international collaboration is very important, and the IGF product is a result of international collaboration. It has involved a lot of meetings, consultations at the international level to arrive at the delivery of the product that we are presenting in this course. Capacity and education is the strategic pathway 8. How to avoid having this document guides in the shelf, but having them used in practical manner, how to raise awareness, how this can be included in formal educations, in the courses, NSDI courses, if they exist. If not, how to design these courses, how to encourage entrepreneurship, development of the startup from the engineering school and university, having incubators, for example, and how to train the professional, how to have training for professional workplace. Communication and engagement is very important, is the 9th pathway. Starting from the stakeholder identification, for whom the communication message will be designed, target them, integrated engagement strategies, the planning and execution, and monitoring and evaluation to have the process evaluated and to make the necessary change if needed. Come back here to the legal framework for geospatial information, providing some links, because the legal framework for geoinformation has some specificities. How to license geospatial information, the intellectual property, the data quality, the reliability, the emergence of the open data. And the objective here is really to have a better view on the topic. And we have an GGM document, a compendium on licensing of geospatial information, is a starting point to enter this important subject. Institutional arrangement, as it has been said, it was in the first strategic pathway. We have also a document on national institutional arrangement, instrument principles and guidelines dealing with various classification of national institutional arrangements at the structural and managerial parts, and even we have compendium of good practices for national institutional arrangements. Just to provide an insight on that, for example, for the coordination of the national spatial data infrastructure, we put in place a coordinating body. In some countries, it is called the Commission Nationale de l'Information Géographique, National Commission for the Information Geographic System. It's a place where all the producers of the geoinformation meets and coordinate their work. And for this commission, we have a secretariat. And depending in the country, we can find it as National Mapping Agency is one choice. The second choice is on statistical institution, national statistical institution. The third choice is can be between transformation, digital transformation agency in some countries, and other mechanism depending on the choice of the stakeholder. We will have study case for this during the week of the model, and we'll have discussion to respond to the question that this model will raise. And this is the end of this module. Thank you very much.